Page 44, Just the Way You Are. They talk about a bossa nova rhythm pattern, but I don't really know a lot about rhythm patterns. To me, they're just patterns of rhythms. So you can Google bossa nova rhythms and different kinds of Latin rhythms and different styles of rhythms and whatever you want to do. I'm going to talk about this piece. Common time or 4/4 time, two sharps. We are in the key of what? It's either D major or B minor. Those are the two keys with two sharps. So those are the scales you need to be working on while you're working on this piece. 2 octaves up and down at least if you can on the scales. And the arpeggios too, if you would, should go 2 octaves. It's the tremolo exercise really I'm pushing on the arpeggio thing. You need to do the tremolo exercise. Now if you haven't been doing the scales, then make sure you do that trill exercise for the scales. But I'm assuming by now you've been doing scales. Anyway, as far as this piece goes, I think it's in D major. Let's take it one hand at a time. Now again, this isn't really piano music. This is a song that's supposed to have some sort of instrumental accompaniment to it, like a small band or orchestra. This is a nice little arrangement though. Let's see how it works. Right hand at the beginning, you got 2 voices here. The whole note, you got to hold that down for the full. You got the first 2 measures of that. And as you're playing this, reach up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they're showing here. I don't want to do that. No, we're in this position. They got here, but really the chord is that, and that's the fingering for it if you're going to use it. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the fingering you can use in the piece. So I would do 2nd finger then on the 2. So 1, 2 is 4th finger, not 3rd. And then right there, get it all in one position. I don't have to move that little finger around. And anywhere else in this piece like this, I'm going to use the same finger. Going on, 3rd measure. So again, rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and. 1 and 2 and. Not too hard, I hope. Going on. 1 and 2. Now here you can collapse down because we're going to come down more or less into this position. We were here. Now it's a different version of the same chord. That's not really the chord, but that's the position we're using. So it's, now come down and use 4th finger on the B, because we're in this position. And right there. Here, and then you use thumb again for the C natural. That's alright. There's other fingerings we can try, but this is fine, we can do that. You're holding the F sharp down, then going on, thumb again, just leave 1 and 2. And then here. Here. Because you gotta hold that down. Here. And then lift up and come up. 4th finger there. And hold these half notes down. The 3rd line down, that's a whole note. And now we can lift up and go ahead and use 5th finger. Here. And then during the rest you come up to this pattern. We're in sort of in this position. So 3rd line down. Let's start with the 1st measure there. 3rd line, that's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. I'd come up on 2 and move. 1 and 2. And I stay on 2nd finger on the F sharp. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Last line on page 44, the 1st inning there. You hear they're saying here 4, and then you cross across the 4th to the C sharp. Well, isn't that good? So there are actually times we have to do it, but not very often. I would suggest you do this. Here, you're here in this. Just reach up. If you can reach it with 2nd finger, if your hand's big enough, do that. There you're in position. Here, if you can't reach this, then you pretty much have to do that. And you can substitute. So it's, again, here. I prefer second, but if not, use third. And then when you get to the fifth finger, substitute. Just put the fourth on it. Because you got to hold the F sharp down. And then use this as your pivot and come across. So second measure. You're going to lose this. Again, this isn't piano music, so we do the best we can. The pedal will help us out here. This rhythm, the last two measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and that's a thumb on that one. Then you'd repeat that. However, let's go on. Page 45, second. Now you're coming to the second ending from the end of the third line on page 44. So the third line, the last measure on page 44, you're here. Here, and that takes you to the second ending, and then you lift up. And this mess at the top of page 45, the last three measures, don't play the A. Just rest on that. Just so 1 and 2, that chord, B flat, E, G. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again, don't play the A in the next measure. So it's 1 and 2. Don't play the A in the next measure. 1 and 2. And then lift up, second finger. Third finger. Gotta bring the third finger down. Going on, 1 and, this is the second line, second measure, the double bars. 1 and 2 and 3. Well, it calmed down a bit. Isn't that nice? There are miracles. Now, I suggest you put fifth finger on that C sharp so it can connect. Now, you have to have fairly large hands. If you can't do that, then you have to go ahead and use the fingering in the book. You can connect those if you want. I'll leave that up to you. So the last measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now that D sharp, that sharp is good for the rest of the measure, so all of those D's are sharped. So the second line, last measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You keep playing on the ands. That's fine. For the third line, I suggest this fingering. At the beginning, you're here. At the beginning of the measure, you're fine. It's just a here. But then when you come down, put thumb on the G. Just scrunch up and put thumb on it. And then cross over with the 4. And you can play the C sharp, F sharp with 2-4. Like so. Hold the C sharp down and then go. And then release it. Oh, what was that? Let's do it again. Third line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're changing harmony here, aren't we? Oh goody. And then during the rest, you can come up. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, thumb, third, and I recommend 2-4 here, not 2-5. Hold the C if you can do that, and then you can lift up, but connect. Can you connect that? So you're just coming up here. I'm just rolling over. Now you can always substitute. If you play that with second, you can put thumb on it right quick if you want. It's up to you. And then 4. And again, I would do another substitution there. 5-4. So the last two measures are here. You can substitute if you want, or not, whatever. And then substitute here. And the rhythm, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's the same rhythm we had up at the end of the second line, different notes. So. And then thumb going on, 1 and 2. hold the F down, and then cross over to 5. So the rhythm in the last two measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you're holding that A down through that whole thing. Isn't that fun? Oh, you're just gonna love it. Left hand, what's it up to? Well, whole notes at the beginning. It's not too bad. And then here, and then just stay there. And then come down. 1 and 2 and 3 and rest. This is that rhythm they're talking about at the beginning of the line, or the page. Beginning of something, I don't know. I can't play and talk at the same time. So I don't see anything tricky on page 44 for the left hand. Let's go over to page 45. On the second line, you're starting here, C natural. And you gotta rest. During the rest, come up. 5-3, 2, and then up here, C sharp, and then F sharp. Hold the F sharp down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Lift up and move. And then up again. Third line. That is an E, a B, and a D. And then just come up. Thumb. 5 and 2 is fine. Rest. Fourth line down, that chord, F natural, B flat, D. And then thumb again, 1. I recommend second finger on that A because that makes reaching the next chord a little easier. And then they're saying 5 and 3 again, that's alright. It's a B flat this time though. And then going on. And then come down. Put the hands together. This should be an adventure. And try and hold these notes down with the fingers as best you can. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. So, at the first line, second line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Hold up, right hand down, it's a whole note. 1, 2. Two and 3 there in the left hand. Then you repeat that. Let's go over to page 44. 45. That was 44. 45, your second ending. It's here. 1 and 2, lift up. Now, this is where I told you not to play the low A in the right hand. See, because otherwise you got to come up here. Yeah. What I suggest you do is you play that A with the left hand because it's there and it's just got a whole note. It's got nothing else to do. And it's keep in mind that just because a note is printed in one staff or the other does not mean that hand has to play it. There's no rule says that. Some teachers actually teach that. That's not right. But it's the last 3 measures, that first line, they say you can play it with third because you can still reach the A. You're just going to play that 1/8 note. So that's all. That's all. That's all that is. But it makes it a little easier for the right hand. So forth. So that's what I recommend you do. Then going on at the double bars there, 1 and 2. And 2. So, and again, the last measure, the second line, 1 and 2. harmonies here. So forth. It's going to take a while to put this one together. You need to do a lot of one hand alone. Try and get this to work out with the fingers. So each hand is doing what it needs to do. Because when you put the hands together, it's almost like relearning it all over again. It's that tricky. This is really a difficult arrangement as far as I'm concerned. Now, as far as the articulation goes, you just slur it. You can follow the sentences in the words if you want to know. Or you can follow the curved lines in the music, however you want to do it. Look. So just follow the slurs. Left hand connected as best you can, except for the rest, of course. Dynamics, we'll get to know the piece first so you're halfway comfortable with it, and then start thinking about the dynamics. Moderately soft, and that is to the melody. And the melody are the notes with words under them, in case you're wondering which. Bring those out, everything else needs to be background. So here, soft and then medium soft. We want to hear that over the F sharp. And then the third measure, that first note is soft, and then louder. Or the second line last measure, you're doing that through all of this, and then third line down second measure, that eighth notes, that's not melody. You keep that soft, so it's that's soft at the end of the third line. Keep that down. That's not melody. Now it's melody. And we want to hear at the end of the page 44, I want to hear the A over everything. And you're coming down softer there anyway. Well, you have to because the A's dying away. You got to get softer. Now at the top of page 45, you're sort of still in the moderately soft range. That first chord, that's soft. Now moderately soft. And all of that, and everything else is soft. And you can come down to very soft, in my opinion. There at this is the second line, first measure on page 45. This, because in the next measure they have the moderately soft again, but I think it's in the wrong spot. It doesn't belong on beat 1. It belongs on beat 2. It's the melody that's moderately soft. This first chord in the left hand is soft, or very soft if you want, and then moderately soft. Here. That. Just follow the dynamics. It gets a little louder there at the end of the third line. You come up. Only come up to about a moderately soft in here. Don't. That's sort of a moderately soft at the fourth line, that chord. Then the moderately loud is to the melody. There. See, all of this other stuff, that's got to be soft. All of that is soft. We want to hear the melody. You got to get to know it well enough that you're comfortable with all this stuff going on, that you can really start thinking about the melody and interpreting it, making it yours. It's not just note, 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 note. However, we're going to do note, 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 note right now. Now they've added pedal, and we kind of need pedal to help it. This isn't a piano piece. We need some help to connect things, and we want some overtones. But we have to be careful, or we can smear this up really easily. Now they're showing, as usual, overlapping pedal pretty much throughout. Well, if I pedal it the way they're showing, this is what it sounds like. Push the pedal down after the notes. Here. Push the pedal down after the notes. Change the pedal after the notes. If that sounds okay to you, go with it. I would like to hear the rest. I'd like to hear the phrasing, because the pedal is covering all that up. So I know it complicates it a little bit, and if you're struggling, then forget it. Just do it the way the book is showing. But otherwise, see, in the second measure, I don't pedal it until I play the B. Here, so I don't catch both notes. I mean, it's in the harmony, you can catch both notes. I just like to keep it a little cleaner. So I don't here, and then just pedal. Same thing in the last measure. I don't pedal the first half beat. And second line, I lift it up on the last beat so I can hear a rest on the left hand. You have to listen very carefully to the sound the pedal is making, and you make the judgment calls. It depends on what you like to hear. And the third line down, second measure. I don't pedal those eighth notes. I want those clean. Again, last measure, third line. I don't pedal the last two beats really. Last line on page 44, second measure, I need the pedal to help me connect this. So I push it down right after I play that last note, and then change it on the next one so I can connect that. I use the pedal for that. So that last line again is here. Fourth, that's sort of the pedaling. On page 45, it's similar to that. This pedaling, you can pedal it like they're showing here. And on the second line, first measure, I don't pedal that measure. I want to clear out all the overtones, all that sound. I'm dying down. I'm not pedaling this at all. It's nice and clean. It's a contrast to what we had on the other. It's a different section. We like contrast in music. Keep saying that. You'll believe it eventually. But when I need help to connect things, I use the pedal to help me. It's the last two measures of the second line from the C sharp to the B. I'm going to pedal here to here and then release it on the B, just to help me connect those notes. So those measures, and I'm not pedaling. I like a little silence in there. Play it staccato, and you can connect the end of that measure to the next measure here to help connect it. Just pedal down long enough to connect it. The third measure, third line, so we connect the chords, but lift it up. You don't hear the phrase. And I don't pedal that. Now, if you need help connecting notes here, use the pedal, it's fine. Otherwise, I don't know that you need the pedal here. So the third line, or fourth line, excuse me, on page 45. I mean, on that third measure, I I can pedal that. The last 2 beats. And change it there. If it'll help me with the fingering, that's fine. But in the last measure, don't smear that. And I'm not pedaling this either. But pedal here, going from this is the last line on page 45, going from the 2nd measure to the 3rd measure, put a little legato pedal in there to connect it. So it's here. Just to connect it. I got to move my hands, and I don't want. But don't pedal the last 2 measures. So I'm pedaling only when I absolutely have to, I guess is what I'm saying. But there's sometimes I need the pedal to help me connect the notes because I can't do it with the fingers. Sometimes I want the overtones, I want the additional sound. Sometimes I don't. So every time you pedal for a specific reason. So you have to listen very, very carefully. And you have to be comfortable enough with playing the notes without the pedal so you can control and use the pedal only when you need it. Because if you can't control what you're doing with the fingers, then you have to use the pedal more as a crutch to cover up what you can't do with the hands. That's rather complicated. What I'm saying is learn to do it with the hands as much as possible. And only use the pedal as you need it to enhance the sound is all. Speed wise, well, I have a tendency to speed this up, and you don't want to do that. It's a wistfully, whatever that means, I don't know, they give you a metronome marking, that's just a suggestion. It kind of depends on how much wine I've had as to what mood I'm in, just the way you are. I don't know, how am I? Now roadmap on this, well, at the bottom of the page there's a first ending and a repeat. So you're going to go back up and play the first 3 lines on page 44 again. And then the second ending is at the top of page 45. And at that point you're going to play all of page 45 all the way down. Then at the end of the page 45 there's a DC al fine. Remember, DC means go back to the beginning. So we go back to the top of page 44. And we play page 40, the first 3 lines of page 44 again. But this time, don't do the first ending again. Skip to the second ending. And the fine is there's a note at the top of the page on 45 on the 3rd measure and 4th measure, those 2 measures. It's saying just repeat these and fade out. So there's really no ending to this. You're just kind of going to fade out. So you're just going to repeat those 2 measures and over and get softer and softer and softer. Well, I'll repeat it 1 time maybe, and that's it. Okay. And that last note, you can hold that out a little longer than what the music says by them. Something like that, I think.